Yo YouTube, what's going on? It's your boy SalvationsElite. We are back with another video, guys, and this is the substitutions video. Activision confirmed. If you guys watched our last video, you definitely should, because they confirmed so much about the franchising in Call of Duty in 2020, 2019, the end of 2019, 2020, the new Call of Duty League. Activision confirmed so much about it, and substitutions were some of the biggest news of all. And tomorrow we're going to be going through some of the other biggest news of the week or the year so far is the start of Rostermania. There's already a lot of news on the books, and there's gonna be so much more coming out in the next few weeks. We talked about a little bit about it in the video before, but if you guys want all the news, tomorrow it's gonna be that video, so be on the lookout for that Rostermania video. So with that said, today we're covering the substitution. Activision said that in the Call of Duty League, and that will start in 2020, substitutions are going to be part of the game. That means that mid-series, during a match, teams would be able to potentially sub in players between games. So like, say you have a search and destroy roster, or a team, and you have your hardpoint team, you have your control team, or your lineup. And it could vary depending on the game mode or depending on the series who you're playing against. Literally, there's tons of variables, but that's basically the gist of it. The players' teams can have different lineups for different situations, and they can substitute them during the match. So the question is how are teams going to utilize this? How is this going to work? How are rosters going to be formed based around this mentality? And like, are players going to be totally fine with this in a lot of different situations? Because, I mean, let's be honest. It's hard enough to find 5 players that work together and get along well and understand each other and play well together as a squad, you know, to let alone have 7-10 players on a team that are all going to get together and play well together as a squad. It seems really unlikely and really hard to do. So who knows how that's going to work out. So we're definitely going to talk about some of that today. So the first question is, like, are teams even going to utilize this? I think they probably will in some situations. So there have been rumors, this is by no means confirmed, this is just straight up rumors, that there might be like best of 7 series this year, where it'd be like hardpoint, search, CTF, reverse CTF, some other game mode, hardpoint, search, or something like that. Like, that's definitely a possibility. I think it's gonna still be best of 5s, but you never really know. Again, they did confirm that it's gonna be 5v5s, so a team could potentially have 2 full different rosters. Like, you could have this starting 5 for this game mode or these game modes, then you have another starting 5 for these game modes. That could be a literally completely different roster if you wanted to do it that way. I would really doubt it. I don't think any team's gonna be willing to invest that much money to have that dominant of a starting 5 for 2 different game modes. I would really doubt it that any team would be able to do that, but it definitely is possible that they have like an S&D or search specialist that comes in and substitutes only in for search. That's possible. Or, you know, who knows? Maybe teams do have a full different roster for different game modes. Obviously, the next question to ask is, who will this benefit? Who benefits from this? And, you know, what first comes to mind is like older players, the S&D veterans, like the Killas, the Rickies, the Theories of the world. The other ones are the S&D stars, the game battles, ladders, grinders who play search and destroy chows, or, you know, $1,000 wagers only search. Like, that's kind of who it feels like is going to benefit the most. Really knows how the teams are going to utilize it at this point for sure, but like, you know, coming to mind in the past, it'd be like the you know, the Teddy Rex of the world, the S&D stars. So like, those types of guys could really benefit from this. And like, it is cool because in a way, like, it provides players a route to go pro by specializing in one game mode. Like, say for some reason you're just a monster at hardpoint but you suck at search, or you're a monster at search but you suck at hardpoint. There is potential where now, just because you're really good at one game mode, you might have a chance to go pro in that game mode alone and not have to be as well-rounded of a player as you currently have to be to go pro. It does definitely provide more opportunities and more flexibility for players to specialize in those senses, but it's going to be weird to see if pro teams actually utilize that flexibility that the substitutions actually provide. You know, not only does it come down to the players like preferences, but it does come down to the org's ability to pay the players. I mean, the minimum salary is $50K per year, benefits plus retirement, so you know that does add up for players. And so if you have to have a roster requirement of 7, so you have to have 7 players on the roster, I think most teams are gonna have around 7, and then have like those 2, like, you have one like hardpoint sub in case the player has to miss, and then you have one S&D specialist that can sub in. That's the most logical outcome that most teams are going to go by. But again, there is the opportunity for teams to have a full 10-team roster and really take advantage of those substitutions and have flexibility within that organization. So that's where it really comes into play, how that's going to work out. So will organizations be willing to shell out the extra 150K or more for those players? I don't know. Maybe. I mean, more than likely they're going to have pretty deep pockets considering they're invested into a league that costs like 25 million to get into. So the extra few 100K wouldn't be that big of a difference for them. So maybe every team will have a roster of 10 and they'll sign those, you know, amateur players to then send them to go play in the Path to Pro series, because we're going to talk about this tomorrow on Rostermania's video, how this could affect Rostermania. But teams are allowed to send 2 of their players to go play in the amateur league or the Path to Pro league. So I wouldn't be surprised if it's kind of like, you know, how in soccer teams sign players and then send them to loan, or how in the MLB you draft a player then send them down to the minor leagues. That'll kind of be the same thing, where COD teams will have those players who they send down to the minor leagues, to the amateur league, and they train there. They're able to have their own team in the amateur league with other close to be pros, and they can go down there and play. That's possible, and I think that's a very likely outcome, where, you know, you have a team of 8 pros and then 2 more that are sent down to the amateur league who are currently technically on their roster but in the amateur road to pro league as well. That is a very likely outcome, and I wouldn't be surprised at all if that's how that goes. So again, tomorrow we're going to go through all the Rostermania. There's like literally already so much news, and it's going to get crazier and crazier. So I'm excited to talk about that. I mean, we already know of so many players who have already changed teams, gone back on loans, like in the case of FaZe, 100 Thieves, and so many others. Evil Geniuses has already been dropping their players because they're not, you know, because of the situation. So there is a lot to go through. I'm excited for tomorrow, and I can't wait to play some more Modern Warfare. I'll be streaming that tomorrow night as well. So regardless, hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys did, like, comment, and subscribe. Share it if you guys really enjoy it. I really, really do appreciate it. But as always, guys, I'm your boy SalvationsElite, and we'll see you next time. I'm out.